You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Right?
Welcome.
Feels like it's been a long time since we've sat here and done
It
this.
has been. I miss it.
I know.
This is crazy. This is nostalgic right now. I'm start crying.
I know. It's big. It's hard.
Oh my goodness.
This is the last episode for the year, which is a big deal. And this is the last episode that we are recording in this house. And then we are a week out from packing everything up and moving across the country. And we've talked about it on previous episodes. We've kind of hinted, obviously, like the podcast kind of faded for a minute because it didn't fade. We just took a break because we were so busy. We're still so busy. And we're about to be even busier because it's the final stages of packing up everything into a shipping container and
Your water bottle?
moving east. We're heading out.
We are.
Next week. So this is a lot.
I'm like really crying. I'm going to be crying the whole episode.
Do you have your tissues handy?
No, I looked. I'm like, shit.
Oh, no. Do you want to go grab them real quick?
Maybe. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to
Okay.
try to like, whew.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So many things this year, right? So many things.
Last 2 years have been.
Yeah. I don't even know. The thing is, I don't even know where to start or where to begin.
Luckily, there's documentation. We've got our journey recorded pretty much.
Isn't that cool? That's a cool thing about doing a podcast, right? Especially the type that we do, because it's such a
Oh my goodness.
in-depth thing. I don't know. Do we want to get into this
into
emotional
what?
stuff that we're feeling?
I think it'll be back and forth. There's also a happiness that just like hit. Like I have so much love for everything. So
Right.
it's just like, whoa. It's like, whoa.
It's a big deal. This
Yeah.
podcast has been a very, and is continuing to be a very, like, that's the thing is it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, we are. But like,
We don't have a house yet. That's a big thing.
right? How fun.
So it's like,
we don't even have like, we're not going to have an address. We don't like our mail is going on hold.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know. We have to figure out grown up things here. Like, so
Yeah.
do you know what to do when you don't have an address? Like there's nomads all over.
Yeah.
There's people that live in RVs. So there's a thing that we have to figure out because
I don't think mail isn't that big of a deal. We talked about it already.
Right?
Like the only thing we get in the mail is bills, and we won't have.
and we're
those
not going to
anymore.
have bills. So that's
that's
a thing.
okay.
That's a thing. Okay.
So we're not like you're like we don't. Where we're gonna get? It's okay. Like the
Wow. The level of stress that just came off. I'm like, we have to have an address for
Yeah.
the bills, the people like, I don't know where to.
For me, the stressful part of not having an address is like shipping, like Amazon. Like
Well-
we can't order stuff,
Well, I'd say I already had that figured
and
out.
that's not a big deal either.
We can, because you know how you can like ship and send it to this address?
Yes.
So we're staying in a place. So as long as the shipping is in a time we're still going to be there, we can just have it like sent to that address.
Yeah, these aren't that big of a deal.
We're fine.
But
I've
we
been
don't have a-
panicking over an address. We're fine. We're totally fine.
We don't have a house, and we don't know. Like we know where we're going to be moving. We're going to Tennessee, but as far
Probably.
as like, yeah, sure.
Everything
probably.
keeps changing. We've looked at every state. So
We're going to Tennessee,
probably,
and
maybe
we're going to find a house. So the plan
that's the plan.
is
That's the
we're
hope.
packing everything up. The majority of stuff is going to go into storage, and then we're going to
A small storage. One small storage.
and then we're going to get in the
That's okay.
van and drive east and go find a place to live.
Yes.
So, see, phone just confirmed
All
that's what's
right.
happening.
Cool.
Go ahead and
That's-
mute that too.
I'm doing it. And there's no irritation in your voice there.
And that's the big
How
exciting
cool is
thing.
that? We're going to like stay at a place.
You know what's really funny, babe? Like
What?
people that we talk to about this whole experience, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it's always this big,
7:22. Okay.
like some people are, I mean, everybody's been really supportive for the most part, right? But it's funny the little comments that people give you like after
Those
they
little
find
snide
out,
comments.
right? The little things of like,
This is
why
why
you
I'm
going
afraid
there?
of this.
Why you
And this
doing
is why you should be
that?
afraid of this.
But there's a lot of people that talk about how big of an adventure this is and how cool it is and how like they wish they could do something like this or
Right?
like there's a thing.
We were those people a year ago
exactly
sitting here with Brandon and Kristen while they were telling us their story.
Yes.
A year ago.
And
We're doing it.
now we're doing it.
Doing
and
it.
does not feel exciting. It doesn't feel like a grand adventure. It feels
You have moments though, right?
Yes, I do have moments. And we're going to have more of those moments soon. But there's also a level of this that just feels like terror. It feels so scary. Every part of it.
Terrifying.
So I'm laughing at that because people are like, oh, that's so cool. And like,
and it is.
It is. And it's so terrifying.
I cry all the time. I cry like all the time. I'm always crying.
All the crying.
I am so scared and emotional. Like, I'm going to just saying that I'm going to start crying.
Yeah.
Like, it is so hard.
It is so hard.
And it's amazing. It's so hard because we've also like never, ever done it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
It's definitely a first for us.
Right?
For either of us. So the podcast, like we'll just get some business out of the way.
Right.
Right. This is the last episode for 2022. That's what year this is.
Yes,
right?
it is.
And then soon to be new episodes coming in 2023.
Right.
When? Yeah. We don't know.
Keep in mind, you know, your little patience. We gotta find a place to record.
There's a chance
we can go back to recording in the van.
We could.
Do you remember? Back in the day, we used to record in the van.
We might do some. Like the thing is, I don't want to say we're gonna do anything because who the fuck knows what we're gonna do. The priority is like finding a place to live, and then also our kid, and then like all these other things.
Also, side notes.
And eventually, the podcast will become a priority in our life again. And hopefully that's sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And next year, we have so many things that we're going to be like bringing forth into the world. All the stuff that we got started at the beginning of this year and into this year kind of got put on hold for this transition and for this move.
Got us ready for this transition too. Yeah. Like all these things got us ready here.
Yeah.
So
all the stuff that we are like, I'm so excited.
Bring into you.
I'm so excited for it.
I know. I'm excited. I got dance moves.
I'm excited for the podcast to continue to grow.
Me too.
And all the stuff that we are like going to be doing with the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the coaching and the yoga and the eventually we're going to be hosting retreats and in-person events and a book. Yeah. We're going to write a book.
We've already got like 4 started. We just got to finish one of them.
There's just so much stuff that is coming. And this is a huge part of it. This shift and transition. Do you want to talk about the significance of what this life transition is in relation to kind of where you're at in life right now?
I don't know.
Do you think that's a space that we want to get into?
I don't know. I don't know if I have, because I'm taxed. I'm taxed to the max. And I'm funny.
I kind of want to name this episode that.
Taxed to the max.
Taxed to the max.
I don't know if I can show up that way right now without
just so much emotion.
So much. Yeah. To where, and it's not like, oh, emotion, I'm trying to contain it. It's hysterical, sobbing, incoherent, snot everywhere. It's not something that you can just talk through. It's like clear as face. She's having a moment.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best question to kick us off with. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. This process has been really interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we talked about it on the last episode or not, but like this transition in our life, because we've gone through life transitions before. We've gone through big life transitions like job changes, careers, divorces, moving. We both have moved. You know, anytime you move, it's a big transition, even if it's just across town or something like that.
This girl has only ever lived in one county.
Right.
You've got a little more experience under that belt of yours. I've never even been on vacation to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Like the farthest I've been, which is still really far for me, like my long distance travel was to St. Louis. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's as far as I've ever been in the world. And we're just moving.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So I'm really excited that you've got
the experience
even though
of travel.
You've got the experience of travel, and you've at least like been to places. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you know where the Mavericks are. So you know where we can pee.
Yes.
No, it's just like, I know that's like silly, but it's like a big deal. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying if all of a sudden you felt like I feel like the way I'm panicking now.
I don't
expect you to have all the answers.
Added pressure of,
okay.
Yeah, if we can't find a good bathroom spot, I'm not going to take it personally.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like, you are valid, even if we cannot find a bathroom. If I'm peeing on the side of the road the whole time, it is fine.
Yeah.
It is totally fine.
What I was getting at was the transition that we're going through right now. We are consciously going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a first.
Yes.
All the other ones have always been gone through like unconsciously, chaotically in coping mechanisms and very, very unhealthy kind of ways.
Yeah.
And this one, we are choosing to go through it consciously. So we're feeling everything and we're aware of everything. And like, yes, we're making hard decisions. And sometimes we're putting those decisions off. Or like the emotional aspect of things where like I have a bunch of emotion that I know I'm still like holding on to and not feeling. But it's also all along the way, I still have been feeling a lot and processing a lot and getting that emotion, not out in a sense, but allowing it to flow and be felt. And before, like every other time period in my life, all emotion was stopped and then buried, stuff, disconnected, and then everything externally was massive disconnect and disassociation and chaos. And that's not happening.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. I really am.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really, really grateful that that's how we're doing this. I'm grateful that that's how you're doing it as well.
Thank you.
I don't know if it feels like that all the time for you, but I see it. And I really, really am proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
Because I think it's really important what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the transition that we're going through. It's big.
It's very big.
Yeah. And it's exciting. And we love being able to share it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't been as regular with episodes.
It's okay. Well, it maybe with all of this consciousness of it, when we talk about this like lag a year from now, you won't think that we stopped recording for a year.
Right.
Because you have like more body awareness and self-awareness and allowing yourself to like not have to contain yourself with a label that's false. Mm-hmm. So maybe like, and if you need a reminder and that doesn't happen, you feel like it's here, it's okay. You totally get all the space and you get the reminder. And I feel like it might not be so hard for you.
Hopefully.
This next round. And it's okay if it is. It's okay if it is. But also
we'll see.
Also, it might not be.
It's to be determined. We shall see.
Have you asked yourself, like, because we're doing this thing and we think we want to, but have you asked yourself if you want to do it?
If I want to move and do this whole thing that we're doing?
Have you asked yourself, like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really want to do it. Like, I asked myself that like a year ago.
Yeah?
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. When I was like, psh, nope.
Yeah. For you, for a long time, it was like, yeah, that'd be cool when that happens one day. Yeah. And I'm like, it will be cool when it happens one day.
You're like, a year from now, we're moving across the country.
Yeah.
I'm like, psh.
Yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of reasons why, you know?
Yeah, but like, have you...
What am I missing?
Well, it's something for me. It was something significant to me. So
okay.
I have explained to other people why it's a good choice. I knew the moment when I could feel the shift starting in me and knowing that this was the decision that was going to be made. So it's one of those where the decision is already made can be a negative decision that you're about to do. You're about to go fuck some shit up. Or the decision is already made when you're setting the groundwork for a conscious choice, a choice in a direction that you are like choosing from a healthy place as opposed to like coping, right? So different. So this is like, I recognize the point when the choice was already made, even though I knew I wasn't verbally agreeing to the choice, I knew the choice was made because I could feel the shifts in my body. And that was like resistance, right? I felt that shift and was like, nope, 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 nope. It's not. But I've asked myself, what the hell am I doing? Is this the right choice? Do I even want this? But to a point of like in panic, but I haven't got quiet and asked myself,
do you want this?
Do I want this? I was just like going off of wherever I was, I wasn't being still and asking myself the question. It was, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I think it's a good idea. These are the words. I've been like justifying my actions as opposed to like really sitting with the choice myself. I didn't ask myself that till this morning.
Really?
Just been like feeling my way through it, which is good.
Yeah.
And making decisions every day consciously, but I hadn't like
really got still with
the choice of it. And I've been asking myself that about like factors around it. Like, do I really want this? But I haven't asked the question as a whole. It was like, do I want to make this decision? And then making that decision, do I want to make this decision? What do I want here? And so I've been asking it based off of decisions but not the whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it because I was making all these conscious choices. So I was asking myself some questions this morning and really sitting with whys and like waiting. Sometimes you have to ask many times before you get the answer. And sometimes you don't get the answer. You just have to like make a decision smaller or whatever. But for the first time today, I asked it, and I asked the question specifically, not in a general term, kind of like in a beating around the bush way. It was like very like specific. And before I could even finish the question, it was, yes, so strong. And I was like, okay, it's okay. It's all okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. It's fine. It's fine. But so that's why I'm like, have you asked yourself, have you like really got still? And you're like, yeah, a year ago. Well, I just got here. I just got to the party. I'm here. I'm finally here. I've been participating, helping with hors d'oeuvres, but now I'm here. I'm ready to, like, I'm at the party.
What was the clear, specific thing that you asked? You don't have to, obviously,
I think that's
just for you.
I think so. I think so. Because
Yeah.
it was huge for me. Yeah, that one, that's just for me. It's a whole yes, though.
Yeah.
It's a yes before, like I said, before I could even finish the question. It was that like, that chest leap forward, that like leading with your heart might like
very much pulled.
Boom, very much.
Yeah.
So here we go.
If there's anything.
Good thing, because they're moving it in a week.
Right.
We got to be out.
If there's anything that, one of the really beautiful things of this whole experience, it has been a incredible deepening for me in regards to like faith. And that's like weird for me. And using, it's really funny. I have all of this negative association with words that are commonly used in the space of religion and talking in and about and around and stuff in regards to religion.
Yeah.
So like words like faith and
It's
belief.
A little bit of a sting to it.
It does. It has a stigma in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to like let go of that stigma, even just in the context of my own heart and soul and space and thought process and mind and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so then it freed me up by letting go of that internal judgment and stigma, and it allowed me to feel this deepening connection to the universe.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a fucking jet.
It does sound like a jet.
Sounds like Maverick is flying outside the window
be.
right now, but it's just the wind.
He might have the need.
The connection that I have with the universe has been enhanced like tenfold this year. And it is something that has continually, like, it's been present in my life for probably the past 10 years. But in the last 2 years, and then more specifically like this year, it has been me really opening up and allowing it in a deeper way than I ever have before. And the universe is just my way of referring to the higher power that exists in the universe. It is just the thing that is the all thing, that is the everything, that you know, I always hate trying to give the caveat of like, that's my word for God. It's not my word for God. It is, God is just a word for it. And it's the one that was like, had the best marketing department back in the day, right? God and religion and Christianity. But my belief system and my belief in connection to that thing has been strengthened so much this year. And this process, like back in September, I think it was when we like put everything into action and started this, or maybe it was in August. I don't remember. I think it was in September. And
yeah,
that has like required me to lean into the belief and the faith that that thing is loving me and supporting me.
Yeah.
And in turn, loving and supporting you and our family and everything else. And that we are going in the direction of that love and that support. Like, we're not making decisions taking us in the opposite direction because truthfully, oftentimes I'm like, I don't know what to do. Just figure it out, universe, and let me know. Like, go ahead and solve that riddle for me. And in the meantime, I'll just sit over here and play with my cards or journal or practice some yoga and try to like not go crazy. And then eventually you'll show me what we're supposed to do. And that's what's been happening over and over and over and over and over again. So it's like, oh, the reiteration and the realization and the real practical things of like, that's how we should probably be living life every day.
Right.
Right. And I mean, it's not new information, but finally I'm able to like practice it enough and lean into it enough and then just let go and trust and have faith that this thing is guiding me towards this beautiful life that I want.
Yeah.
And I believe it. So I'm so glad that you have that pull and you have that knowing and you have that trust now in this big decision that we've made, right. And that we're in the middle of. But what do you think about like your faith? Has it been strengthened, I guess?
Gosh. You want to get into that?
If you want.
Okay.
I don't know what we're getting into.
All right.
It's
I'll try and be.
Last episode of the year, babe.
So
we were going to talk about the Land Before Time before we came up.
We might still. We've only been recording for like 10 minutes, right?
Sure.
How long have we been recording?
About a half hour.
Oh, okay. We got time. It can be a big one.
Yeah, that's what she said.
So I was just going to say that. Okay. So it's like I want to give detail and depth, but I also don't want to be like, on the year I was born. You know, I don't want it to be ridiculously detailed to where people are like, yeah, neuro brain, come on, that's enough. I'm like, I can't. I have to do it this way. It's the only way I can talk.
Do it this way, babe.
Breathe. So some interesting things have been really, like, if you don't want to hear my long answer, the short answer is yes, but I need to give details because that's how I do it.
Hear
okay.
Your long answer.
I still have strong aversions to organized religion. Mm-hmm. I still am incredibly heartbroken at all the hate that is used in the name of a all-loving being that they use to make other people wrong and use hate and control. So everything that I feel and all of my connections have nothing to do with organized religion. Now, it may fall in line with some, like, in a sense of it, like that's not a black or white. And I guess I do see it more. I don't need to get into the details of that. I've said enough. I used to, like, I lost my faith. Like, I totally lost it. And I didn't feel like I lost it. I felt like I woke up, you know, and I did in a sense. I totally did, because all of the pain and the stigma and being like my whole life of never measuring up. And I wasn't even in like, it's like I didn't even have to worry about losing the church because I never even had that. I was an outcast from the beginning. like, and if you let that sit for a second, that's sad. That even from a kid, I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew I didn't fit the parameters of what was expected and what was allowed and what you're supposed to be in order to be loved by God and to in church. That's fucked up. Like that is not a system of love. That is a system of hate and control. So all the people that may be getting triggered right now, maybe they'll feel a little safe with that. Or I don't know, maybe that self is a trigger and they're like, I can't listen to you.
This is your story, babe.
Right?
It's okay.
Right? It's all totally fine. I feel like I want to give all these caveats just so everybody who's listening and whatever they're feeling, it's okay.
And
wherever they are, it's okay. It gets to change. And whatever you're feeling, whether this resonates with you or it causes a reaction, like it's all okay. Mm-hmm. Your reaction, your feelings, it's valid and everything's okay. So I try to like cover the basis so everybody knows that, yeah, you're okay. You're okay. So anyways, total loss of it. And I think I've even talked about it on the podcast. I'm sorry if I've already talked about it, but you know what? Fast forward. I'm going to talk about it again. I lost that, but I never lost like belief in energy. I never lost belief in connection. I never lost it in like spirituality in a sense. I just didn't believe in, big guy on a throne watching everybody, all the dogmatic, all of that. Religion. I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was so freeing to no longer feel hated for being alive. I tried. There was something like I even made promises. Like I'm like, if this is okay, like asked for help and like promised to read the children's Bible. So I've been trying to bargain for God's love since I was a kid.
Really?
And I kept that Bible forever. I think it went in the yard sale. And I was like, I had to, even though that was gone, I had to make peace with that I've forever now, because I took that Bible everywhere because I had this promise to make good on.
That you were going to read it?
That I was going to read it. And I tried, and it was just like, what am I reading?
Right.
So even like that, I've been trying to bargain and trying to figure out how to earn God's love from a kid. So shed all that, had distance, but I still believed in help and angels and guides and ancestors. And it didn't really hit me like different connection levels. I am taking really long. I'm sorry.
Baby, nobody.
It's going to be okay.
Don't worry about the people that are listening.
I'm worried about you. I feel like I'm watching you gloss over like, fuck, why did I ask this question? She's going to be talking for 3 years.
I am not glossing over.
And I am. I'm going to be talking for 3 years.
That's okay. Hey,
so
you get to take up space. You get to talk. Your voice is valid.
It is. It is. Thank you.
You have a story that needs to be spoken and shared.
Well, okay. Shake it off. There we go. Oh, I'm getting scared. So it's like stopping.
Is it the judgment from God? Is it coming in?
Man, it's so much judgment. So I would work with energy, and not just like work with energy, but see things, spirits, believe, all of these things. And it was a moment that happened before we decided to move. It was a moment with Asher, and I was just devastated and scared and didn't know what to do. And I caught myself praying, and I hadn't prayed, I don't even know, years and years and years. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm made the choice to pray. I wasn't even praying, but I was praying. Like I noticed, like I had a visual of myself, and I was in the bathroom crying, because that's where most connections happen, is in the bathroom or in the closet crying. And my hands were like up in prayer position, and it was like was up over my head and I was looking up and I was like, I don't know what to do. I need help. And then it just like blew me away. I'm like, oh, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm going to start crying because it just like, it surprised me, you know? And then it was like, I believe and feel guides. I believe and feel and see and hear, and not in a sense of like, I'm seeing you, but I believe in guides. I believe in angels, archangels. I believe in spirits. I believe in ancestors. I believe in so many goddesses and deities. Like I don't just like think about it on paper and like I feel it in my soul. Like I feel it. And then I was like, if those are real, there's got to be more. Right? Mm-hmm. And it just like hit. And so like, yes, universe. But my brain, I could have a connection because the universe, it was safe. Everybody knows the universe is real. So I can believe in the universe because that's a safe thing. And also that's not something that hates me. That's not something that's like nobody says, oh, the universe is going to hate you if you do that. The universe is going to hate you if you behave that way. The universe is sending you to hell. You don't have to be afraid of the universe. You don't have to be afraid of never measuring up to the universe, of never being good enough. Like the universe just is. It's just there. So, and then we had our conversation that one time where I told you like I was afraid from judgments, right? There was a lot of judgments. And I told you, I don't know what this means yet, but I'm going to find out. I'm excited to find out. I don't know what this means for me. I was basically like, I'm going to get a little more spiritual here, and I'm afraid of being judged by you. Yeah. And so please don't judge me because it's important to me and I have no idea what it means, but I want whatever it means to be okay. We've talked about that. I've developed a really strong relationship with Creator. And it's funny because there was part of it that was like, hey, Craig, this is important to me. Don't make fun of me. Don't think I'm stupid. Don't hurt me with this information I'm giving you. And then I don't know how much longer it was, but you would listen to a podcast with Glennon Doyle.
Yeah. It was, what's her name? Gilbert.
Elizabeth Gilbert was
mm-hmm.
with it. Okay. And they were talking about what they said, something that sparked you, which was like, you create God, mm-hmm. You're a creation, or however, I don't know if you want to do a quick caveat on that real fast.
It was just, it was a really powerful episode for a bunch of different reasons, but it was Glennon's podcast. I don't even know what the name of her podcast is. What is it?
We can do hard things.
And Elizabeth Gilbert, the author.
I just love Elizabeth.
And she was talking about, because she's in recovery in the sense that she's, I think it's not even alcohol or drugs or anything. That's not important. Anyways, in her processing and in the process of her connecting to the higher power that is for her, it was like the way that she articulated it was, it's like, it's mine. It gets to be whatever I want it to be. I can create it. That, and I'm like, for whatever reason, it just was that aha moment in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't have to follow some predetermined definition or set of rules or structure or that anybody or any organization or anything has ever set out before, because it's my relationship with what I believe. And so that freed me up quite a bit to then cultivate that relationship and build that relationship with what I believe the thing is. So.
Well, you shared that with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had.
Did you ever go listen to that episode?
I hadn't listened to that episode, but I didn't need to.
Okay.
And I still want to because it's Elizabeth Gilbert. But the thing, like the beauty of it, right, is mm-hmm. I'm like, here's this thing that's important to me. Please don't hurt me with this information. And then you're like, I'm going to give you a key component. Like it's just like the balancing of it, and how funny that I'm like, don't judge me. And you're like, here you go, sweetheart. And it was beautiful that it came from you, because that resonated, but I still felt like resistance.
Yeah.
But all of like religions and things that you're learning, and you would hear about things, and like Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism and all these things that you go through. And it's like, yes. And you have these things that don't agree. I'm like, oh, I don't believe that, or I can't live up to that. And so it's all these things of like, I keep trying to find like, what is the religion that speaks, and I couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where's that? I have to fit somewhere, right? But then you gave me that, and it was like, okay, my God, my creator, my source, my higher power does not have to be predetermined by anybody else. It doesn't already have to be articulated, wrote down, deemed worthy and judgeable by, it gets to. So it took all of that away. And then I'm resistant. I've got some deep, father wounds, masculine wounds. And that's the energy of it, Father, like Heavenly Father in heaven, all of this, like the God, the male, the aspect of it. And so you want me to try and tell like a guy that's already saying, as long as you're not this, you better do this and this, or you're not going to get you want me to be connected and ask that God for help? Fuck that. So just that whole ability to do that, to shed the stories, to shed the other people's beliefs, other people's versions, other people's stories, and just have my relationship. What does my creator feel like? My creator loves. My creator is love, 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 no matter what. It's not love you if.
Right.
And that means, and something that else that was hard for me was that means loves everybody. And I can't love everybody. There are people that I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But I don't have to.
Exactly.
My creator does.
Right.
And my creator doesn't have to be yours.
Nope.
Might not be, but it can be. Like, I'm not having to be like, this is what God is. This is real. And shoving everybody's face. And this is what you're supposed to believe. Like, no.
Yeah.
My creator is there for everybody, but it is not for everybody. And it is not, it's like, I will, like, whoever resonates, it's there. And it doesn't even matter, because everybody is their own person and their own relation, and it is different for everybody. And maybe it's not. Maybe it is the same. Maybe it's different. I don't care. I don't have to have those answers, because I'm a human on earth.
Right? Your creator's got those answers.
Yes, I don't have to.
Exactly.
I don't have to have those answers, and I don't have to have those answers for anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else gets to find that. I don't have to justify. So this strength, and it has been a tippy toeing in, and something that Matt had said is and he was in his like, creator, if you're true.
Matt's one of our teachers
Yes.
in our yoga training that we're going through
Yes.
right now. Yeah.
Yes. Matt Nash. We love Matt Nash. Okay. We do. We just love him with our whole hearts. And that's
But anyway, something he said.
He said like how his verbiage, like, if you are real, I need you now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to need. It happened, and I had to, and it was hard. And I don't know how to talk. I mean, like, there's part of my emotions started coming up, and they're like, this is too much. It's too vulnerable. Shut down. So my emotions just welled up, and they're like, nope, because I'm still human, and I'm working on that. I can't get through this feeling my way in my words. I just have to get through this with words.
Yeah.
Because also I want people to hear it. My heart got held.
Yeah.
And I got curious about it. And I would try more and more. And this has been like, so I've been dipping my toes in. And then this was like a big leap of faith, right? This was a big leap of faith.
This year too, right?
Right?
This was this morning.
A huge leap of faith. And it keeps happening. So I've been, for a while now, like, asking every day. And then there's part where I started like, oh, you're asking too much. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Like, that's the thing. You're not asking for too much, because it's even that. You can't ask for too much.
Yeah.
But I'm asking every day. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to die. And I'm like, please help me. Like, get me through this. Help. Like, I don't have to even know how to ask for help, because that wasn't, how. I just help. And I've literally said, like, I can't carry this. I need you to carry this for me. I can't do this. I need you to do this. Help me. And I've been getting help. And I don't even know what to do with that. Right? I don't even know what to do with that. Like, I've been getting love and support, like, that's real. I was like, I had a breakdown and I just lost it. I felt like I was bleeding everywhere. And if I wasn't, I wanted to be. It was horrible. And I was like, I need to feel loved. I need to feel unconditionally loved right now, please. I needed it because I had nothing left. And I got it, and I couldn't understand because I didn't know what that felt like. So now I'm always asking for help. I'm asking for help for me. I'm asking for help for kids, because I can't do the things I've tried. Always. I've tried their whole lives. I've tried before I had kids. I'm like, I have to solve all the problems. I have to figure it out. I have to take the pain. I have to take all the shit. I have to make myself the bad guy so nobody else has to bear it. I have to take it. I have to be able to fix. I have to make the right choices for I can't do any of that. And just being like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I need help. Every single time. Like, even saying the word pray was so thing, because it was, you have to say the right words when you're like, all of that is such like, and if that works for you, oh my God, I'm so glad. I am so glad that you have that connection, because everybody deserves it. Not that everybody wants it or it's for everybody, but everybody deserves it. So I've been really helped. And even when I'm not okay, I'm okay. When I get really scared, I had a moment that I don't need to get more, like, I'm going to share at some point. Today's not the day where I'm ready to go to that level of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like, it's beautiful. And so I'm doing these affirmations, right? And I got to experience that love, and I'm starting to believe that we are guided. I'm starting to believe that I am being guided, that I am being supported. And I never believed that before. I never felt that before. And then I stopped even allowing that to be a possibility. Like, I don't trust anybody. I'm not trusting anything. Yeah. And then when I started to believe that and feel that for myself, then it freed up my need to be that for anybody else. Because all of a sudden I realized everybody is being guided. Everybody has that. I don't have to try. And it was never my responsibility, and it should never have been my responsibility. And it was supposed to be my responsibility because we're all where we're at, right? But I could finally say and believe, you're going to be okay. You're going to figure it out. You're going to be okay. You're going to figure out all these things that I had everything held on to that I couldn't let go of, that I could just let go, because if I'm supported, I'm loved, everybody is. Yeah. And maybe that was really profound for me, especially being a parent, being a partner, being a daughter, being, a child, being anything. Like, that was so powerful. So I get more every day. I get something new every day. And I'm almost afraid to say that, because I know what it feels like to not feel that at all, and to hear other people talk about it and think, well, that'll never be me. I'm not loved. I'm not enough. So even saying that scares me, because I don't want to,
and yet you are.
And yet I am. So somebody else hearing it that doesn't resonate or doesn't has all that that dogma shame on them that doesn't believe they are loved. Like there's a path, and it doesn't look like a path that anybody else has taken, and it doesn't have to. What does your path look like? What does love for you look like? What does your God look like?
Right.
So you gave me that. That came from Elizabeth Gilbert, of course, because she's amazing on Glennon's podcast. But I love the synchronistic of this felt like not allowed and guilted and shamed by you, afraid. And then you were like all this love and gave such a key component that stopped me reading and looking outside for it and allowed me to settle and finally go within, which is what they say, but I could never do it.
You gave me the part that led me to that part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like when we had that conversation, you're like, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I'm going to be getting more into whatever the spiritual aspect of our life is. And I'm like, baby, we have a fucking like spiritually based podcast that we built our life off of, like the belief in energy and love and the universe. I'm like, it's probably okay that you go towards that a little bit more. But the fact is, there was a subconscious part of me. There was like, I mean, the inner part of me that has all of that programming and all of that dogma and all of that stuff connected to what we're talking about, connected to spirituality and to a higher power and to religion and all these things, right? That is still in there. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't externally judging you. I wasn't like sitting there judging you in any way, right? And I wasn't even internally judging you, but I had resistance to it. I've always had resistance to this thing. And it's old. I mean, what I mean by that is like my resistance to it has been there for a very, very long time, right? Because it's come with pain. It's come with judgment. It's not been a loving experience.
Yeah.
And so when you talk about it, because it's not like you're like, I'm going to start going to church, but you kind of said that in a sense where you're like, I'm going to start going to church. But I mean, you didn't say you're going to start going to church, but that's kind of what you were saying. You're like, I'm going to start going back to church in a sense is kind of what you were saying to me. I'm like, yeah, of course, go back to church. But then I felt this thing of like, I wish that I had like the strength to do that. I wish that I had the faith to do that. Whatever the block was inside of me, I could feel that block and I wish that it wasn't there. And I didn't know how to move past it. I could just feel that it was there. And by you saying, because what I heard was that you were going to go past that block and towards this other thing that's out there. And I'm like, I'm so happy that you're doing that. And I'm so supportive. And I'm really sad that I'm not. And then you started to, right? And that looked like, I mean, it's so hard to articulate this stuff because it's our own personal life and our relationship. And it's not like you went to church. It's not like you started, reading religious. You just opened up to all the stuff in a sense. And I saw that. And I saw you taking more time to connect to all of this stuff, taking more time up here at your altar or spending more time. I just saw all of that. And I felt so sad that I still had that block. And I didn't know what to do about it. Because I've always had that block. Like I can feel the thing inside of me. Luckily it's gone. Like, oh my God, I don't have it anymore. I don't have the resistance to that unconditional love that exists, right? And it's when we started this yoga training stuff. It's when back in like February, March, and April, when we started learning about, it's literally when we started this yoga training and started learning about some of the philosophies of yoga and the traditions and all this other kind of stuff. And then, like you said, Matt and Ash are amazing yoga teachers and how awesome they are, but they're coming from a perspective that is really loving and open.
Yeah.
And they're teaching from that place. And it just sparked all of this inner stuff. And like through the lens of you going first, gave me permission to follow you. And then things just start coming and coming and coming, right? And
you
then,
had the key.
I had the key.
You had the key.
You had the key.
We're the key masters.
And then, yeah, it's like, here we are in this existence that we have, in this beautiful relationship that we have, in this beautiful life that we have, where we're both being, like, it was on a episode of Glennon, it was on her podcast at some point, and she was talking about like when you go to the beach, or when you go anywhere with kids, especially when they're little kids, and they're like, let me carry, I want to carry my own bag, and then they're cluster fucking carrying their bag because it's too big or it's too heavy and it's got too much stuff. So the reality is you have to carry, like, it's like when you go for a little walk with your kids and they want to ride their bike that's got the training wheels on it. And you're like, sure, let's go for a walk around the block.
Fully figure out how to carry you around the bike back.
Right, fully knowing that halfway through you're carrying everything back. And the way she was talking about it was, that's the example. And the realization she had was that that's what God sees when he basically, or not he, but the idea is that in that scenario, God is the parent and we're the person that's like, hey, I'm going to live this life and I'm going to do all these things. Okay, you bet. And God fully knows that he's going to carry everything, right? That they're going to be responsible for not only carrying me, but also carrying everything. And there isn't some sort of like negative aspect, like that's just unconditional love. And so all of those, like, the footsteps in the sand is you walking with God.
Oh my God, that used to piss me off. I hated that poem. I would get so angry every time.
Well, what about when there's only, that's where God was carrying you.
Yeah, and I was like, bullshit.
And I see that now so differently.
Right?
All I see is one set of footsteps. And the entire time I am being carried and loved and supported by the universe. I'm never walking. And it's not to say I don't know how to walk, but it's to say that everything, like, I am that loved and that supported, that I don't have to, like, all the struggle and strife that we go through is important and it's a part of it and everything like that. But at the end of the day, like the path, the two roads diverging, and like where we're headed in our life isn't towards, we're not being guided. Yes, we are, but it's the way that I see it is, that is the only, like, it is always love and heading towards love. We come from it and we go towards it, and all along the way we're showered by it. That's it. There is no wrong or right decision. There is no pain and suffering. It is only guidance into and being surrounded by love. That's the way it feels for me. It feels for you. And I have to be reminded of that. And so I will, like, very similarly be like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And now it's like, this is too big and this is too great. I don't know what to do. You take care of this and I will just cook myself breakfast. Right?
Yeah.
And then it works out to where, cool, the universe got it.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. And it feels great.
It feels good.
And it's really scary.
Like something that you had said too right there, like that's the only, like I so much felt that all the time and was so frozen by feeling like there was only ever the right choice to make. And I had to figure out what the right choice was. And there's only one right choice and a million, gazillion, quadrillion, all the aliens, right? Wrong choices. And I had to find the right choice. And if I didn't, like so many bad things, like all the bad things I don't even need to get into. And it was so hard to try and make a choice because it was like, what's the right answer? Like basically, it's not even a gun to your head. A gun to your head, it's like you felt like you could handle, but it was like to everybody else's head. Make the right choice. Make the right choice. Here's pain. Here's pain. Why aren't you making the choice? Make the choice. Make the choice. But by not making a choice, they say by not making a choice, you are making a choice.
Yeah.
True. But also, I wasn't choosing wrong, even if all of that was regret because I should have made the choice. Should have made a choice, still had the opportunity to make the right choice. I didn't make the wrong, there was so much pain with that. So now even, it doesn't matter what choice I make, still loved and guided and supported. It doesn't matter what choice, what bag I try to carry. Like now I'm allowed to make wrong choices because they're not wrong choices. And even if I make a mistake, like, I believe it's a part of the process. It's a part of the growth. Like, everybody is still going to benefit. Not that, oh, the world benefits from, I'm not like coming from this like egotistical place. I'm coming at it with this free space, with this free, like, freeing me. And when you like, it's also freeing other people and their choices, because it's loosening my grip on, I also need you to make the right choice. Because it's not just, I have to make the right choice. I am expecting other people the same to make the right choices. Like, it's this like spiral. It's like this death grip, this death roll down. I have to make the right choices, and I have to know what the right choices are. And if you don't know what the right choices are and you don't make the right choices, and now it's like, ooh,
it's all okay.
We can just let all that go.
Yeah.
I mean, am I still holding myself accountable? Of course. Absolutely. Am I still striving to make good choices? Not like I can go rob a bank, whatever, right where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm still making healthy choices, my best. Even when I'm not making healthy choices, I'm doing my best. I'm always trying my best. I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
But I'm allowing myself the freedom to just be.
Just be loved unconditionally.
Just be.
Yeah. Just be loved unconditionally.
Yeah. And that's really, I'm still practicing, just because hearing you say it back, I'm like,
I'm good. I don't actually need unconditional love. I thank you very much.
I'm scared. I'm just scared. I don't know how to receive.
I can definitely take care of that on my own. Unconditional love is fine for other people, and I'm good. I don't need it.
Fighting the battle in my head of, what is this going to cost me too?
Right.
What is this? If I accept this, what is the price that I'm going to have to, like, all of these things that I'm shifting out of. So yes, my faith has increased.
Yeah.
It's
Copy.
increased.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on to question number 2.
Okay. The land before time.
I'm so glad that we are both in the place that we're in. And I think it's like the proof is in the pudding. It's evident that we're in this place because of what we're doing and because of this transition. Because we wouldn't be able to do it any other way. Like, if I was over here, I mean, the fact that we're packing everything up and we're heading to a state and we're hoping to find a place to live. Like, it's not, the plan isn't like the nomadic thing, right? There are people that like, that's a plan.
That was our plan, right? For a little while in the future.
We're very much hoping to find our house.
Yeah.
And we have faith that that will happen.
Yeah.
And if I only had that faith and you didn't, right? This would be a much different experience.
Yeah, true.
And vice versa. But the fact is, we're both believers, and we both have like proof evidence that's the point of this question was, has it increased your faith? Because we are just continually getting that like revealed over and over and over again, that we are being loved and supported in the direction that we're heading and have always been.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing, is we're divinely guided all the time. And I love it.
The amount of letting go that it took for all of this to unravel.
Right. And we ain't done.
It's so funny because you're trying to like build, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to build. And by building, you were just, by building and trying to think all these things that I needed to accumulate, to increase, to make this happen, I was just stacking on and getting farther and farther, like under the stack.
Yeah.
But as soon as it was just like,
let's just do it. Yeah,
that
we've let
changes.
go of so much.
I'm still working on letting go of some things. It's still a practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
cool.
practice.
I'm glad we're in it together too.
I am too.
Yeah.
So that's our experience this year, folks, in a nutshell. And like, I think about some of the things that have happened to us this year and some of the things that we've experienced, as well as like in the past 2 years, that we have not openly talked about on this podcast and shared. And I think that it's coming. I think that there is a level of healing that's taking place that is going to free us up to be able to speak more freely on the podcast, which in turn is going to be more, I think, helpful for people. Every podcast, every everything that I resonate with and everything that I listen to, it comes with a level of vulnerability by the people that are sharing it. Like if you aren't vulnerable and if you aren't open and if you aren't real in what you're expressing and what you're sharing, I don't want to listen to your shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tuning out. I'm not really paying attention to what you're doing. That's not to say you don't have value and worth by all means, but I think the more that you and I have continually opened up and shared, and then also what is in the process of like being able, because this is bringing a new level of connection for us, which is going to put us in, like, all of this growth is just going to have like massive repercussions in such a beautiful, positive way, as well as like, we're going to show up on the podcast better. You know, we're going to be more vulnerable, but also more real, more who we are.
Yeah.
Like towards the end of this year, that's one thing that I'm just like, I am really practicing just, this is Craig.
Yeah.
And it's not, this is Craig, take it or leave it. Like, I'm not concerned with whether or not you take it or leave it. What I'm concerned with is I need to be who I am, because that is important to me. Like there is so much of me that hasn't been able to be seen, spoken, shown, shared, lived. Like the lived experience of who I am has been kept really, really controlled and small and like shunted by me. And now I don't have to do that anymore. Like I'm not shunting myself and I'm not keeping myself small, which means I'm just going to be who I am and I'm going to share that with the world. And it's like, literally, it's like, when I say I don't care, I'm not coming from a place of like indifference. It's like whether they take it or leave it isn't my concern, right?
Yeah.
That's them. That's up to, like, that's your story and that's up to you. And that's the concept and idea of you can take me, or like, that's all there. Like, I'm just me. And that means I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to be speaking from a really sincere, real place that is who I am. And like, I'm getting scared now the more that I'm like iterating this. I'm like, but a big part of what that means to me is just being really childish and really childlike and very childlike in the way that I am and the way that I come across and the way that I carry myself and the way that I think. Like I feel like I have a child brain, but I don't feel like that means that I'm, ignorant or unintelligent or, naive or anything like that. I feel like I can feel my inner childness, and I feel like that's who I am. And then I layered on all of this fucking garbage and bullshit and nonsense and adulting to push myself away from the thing that they were telling me I wasn't supposed to be anymore, right? Grow up. And I'm like, oh, fuck all that. Like I can feel that.
Stop having dreams.
I can feel that inner child energy, like the part of me that is like this beautifully wild, crazy, amazing, creative, funny, happy, joyful fucking thing. That's who I am. And I'm just going to continually allow that to flow through into existence.
Beautiful.
Because that truthfully feels like me.
Yeah.
And when I'm not in that kind of alignment and like that feels like me, I'm noticing it. Like I can feel the distinct difference between I'm a happy, joyful kid. And there's times that I'm judgmental of that. And the parts where I'm judgmental of that, that is like society and adulting and falseness and ego and all sorts of different stuff that's trying to squash this little part of me. And that part of it's not a little part of me. It is me. Like it's big. It's my soul. It's my light. It's my energy. It's me. And I have done so many things to squash it and put it away. So that's like moving forward from henceforth. That's what's coming out. That's who I'm going to be. And that'll be reflected on this podcast, but also just in our life.
Yeah.
And in our relationship. And like, for me, like, that's me. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm so excited to just continually get that freedom to be that with which I am. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm glad we did this finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally recorded our last episode in this house, in the studio, in this space. So the next episode of the podcast will look very different.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that is yet.
Maybe it'll, like, who knows, right? I was going to start making some jokes. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Fine.
We don't know what it'll look like.
Maybe it will be in the van. I have intention to doing, like, and I'm not holding myself to a standard of, if the mood is right and if it feels right, I want to do like lives on the road and just like little things. And maybe it'll be in the Facebook group, in the Energy is Love community, not the page, but the community. Maybe it'll be on the page, but more likely the community. Maybe it'll be on Instagram. Just like, I want to talk as we're going through things and experiencing it, and just like show parts. But also, if it doesn't feel right, if it's too chaotic, I'm not going to be like, oh, I have to make a video. No, I'm not going to. I'm just not going to, because there's so much to doing. And it's more important that we are present with each other, ourselves, and Asher, just like as we're going through this, that we're going on such a big, exciting adventure. It's such an experience. So I'm going to be focused on that. And if it feels good, we will share. And if it doesn't, then you'll hear about it when we start recording again.
Yeah. That's a good point. I feel the same way. I've thought about that, where I definitely want to share as much as we can, but it's not my priority. Like, our health and well-being and the presence and the ability, like, there's literally part of what has been such a hard thing to show up on. Like, we've just stopped social media, right? Like, it stopped social media, which is great. It's been a really big relief. But then there's also, I have a pull to continue. That's an important part of our business. That's also an important way to connect with the people that we want to connect with, all those kind of different things. And it's been really nice not to do it. But there's times where just the emotional weight of what we're going through is what is stopping us from showing up on social media or recording a podcast or creating content or doing, like, it isn't like we've been busy with physical things of moving and painting and doing all these other kind of things. And there's other times where we are caretaking the hell out of us by giving ourselves the space and compassion to just be drowning in emotion and have it be okay. Yeah. Without any sort of like guilt or shame or judgment towards ourselves. And I'm really grateful that we've done that.
I am really grateful that we have done that. That took a skill set that I didn't even, I had no, like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to articulate this. It was a skill set that I didn't even know how to try and strive for.
Right.
Because even like taking that time for yourself, not showing up so you can heal, not keeping a schedule, not keeping these things that you are supposed to, is like taking out all the fucking shoulds that society says you have to do. And even especially, and it's not really even valid unless you're doing all your shoulds while you are drowning, because then like that whole story to say like, no, actually, I just like went under. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up for air and I'm going to let all this go.
Yeah.
Like they don't even like show you that that is a strength. So you don't even know to put yourself in that. You don't even know that it's a muscle. Try and use the words for this. You don't even know that you got to work out that muscle. You don't see it as a muscle. You see it as a weakness. So to realize like, oh God, that's a muscle. And we're going to work that and take care of ourselves like that is just,
it's been freeing, hasn't it?
So freeing.
So rewarding as well. But we are going to share.
Yeah. It just might be on the next episode in 2023.
But if you don't follow us already, go follow us.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. No Twitter. Fuck
no
Twitter. I do like Elon, but fuck Twitter. And go follow us.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for stuff because, like I said, we've got so much coming in.
Love the stuff that's there.
Also, like we've had massive support this year, both with the podcast and with our business and everything that we're creating. And we like are so appreciative if you have listened to this podcast, if you liked this podcast, if you've liked our stuff, if you're
came to our yoga class.
Yeah, there's so many different things that we're really, really grateful for. And sometimes we forget to talk about that. But thank you for everything. Also, thank you for listening to the podcast. If you've shared it with somebody, all those kind of things that happen, we're so incredibly humble and grateful and thankful. And we're so excited to continue growing and expanding and sharing everything with all the people that listen to this show and do all the different things. So thank you.
Thank
hopefully
you.
Your year's been life-changing and the next year is going to be even more amazing.
It's going to be a big year. We got this. We are supported and loved.
Always.